AchtungMillwall supports the Lions Food Hub, and all of our advertising revenues will be donated to support this fantastic initiative. It's now based at the Lions Centre on Bolina Road, and it's run by our own Kelly Webster. This is a friendly food bank supporting families in the Bermondsey and SE16 area. If you can help support the Lions Food Hub in any way, please visit @Lions Food Hub on Twitter or get in touch with us at AchtungMillwall. The Lions Food Hub. Come on, you Lions.
You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, dear listeners. Welcome to another edition of AchtungMillwall Grassroots, where we cover the non-league. And in this interview, we are absolutely delighted to have with us Danny Murphy, not that one, but Danny Murphy, the manager of Erith and Belvedere FC, who are currently sitting nice and pretty near the top of the table in the SCEFL Premier Division. Danny, how are you, mate?
I'm very good. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show. Really, really appreciate it. So we'll get started. So with you and your history in coaching, how did you get into it, really? You know, some players sort of had like little injuries or they didn't really like go too far up the pyramids, but you seem to have a pretty decent caliber and pedigree in the game. So how did it all start for you with the coaching?
I tell you what, I was in Ireland and playing for Cork City. I was coming towards the end of my career where I felt that I couldn't really, I suppose, it's hard to realise as a player that you just got to know when it's time to stop playing. And I felt that I wanted to go out when people knew me as the player I was, and not go out of football when people thought I should have gone out of football. So I kind of, probably people would say to me I finished my career a little bit earlier than I should have, but I didn't think I could contribute in a way that I could. And I didn't want to carry on playing football if I couldn't contribute in that way. And I'd done my coaching badges. I had a couple of small coaching companies that set up a couple of academies and stuff like that when I was coaching in Ireland. And then I stopped playing. I got offered a job as a player manager at a club in the lower leagues in Ireland. I took that job, really enjoyed the coaching side of it, and didn't enjoy the playing as much, which was kind of weird. But I got to a point where I enjoyed coaching. I enjoyed that side of it and making players better, and the game understanding and learning more the tactical side of football. And I went with Bolina United in Ireland, which is based in Cork, where I finished up playing, and I started coaching with them. And then we finished second in the league that year, and things kind of didn't pan out the way I wanted to the next season in terms of over the pre-season. So I just decided, listen, it wasn't for me, wasn't going to carry on doing it. I came home with my little boy to the UK just to come see my parents. Ended up seeing someone I knew in the airport who knew people in America, and was like to me, why don't you go out there? I was like, listen, it's a nightmare trying to get out there. He went, no, I know someone can get you a visa. So literally gave him my number that night. He offered me a 1-year visa out in America. I was like, you know what, I'll go and give it a go. It's not often you get that opportunity. I went out there, started coaching out there, started working for some small clubs, then ended up coaching for GIS, which is Global Women's Soccer, and they kind of are all over the US. So I ended up working for them on West Ham, travelling around the States, going to clubs, teaching them different philosophies and how to coach and stuff like that. And really then started to take an active role in how I wanted to coach and how I wanted to do things. I ended up spending 4 years in the States coaching elite level football, which predominantly ended up doing girls. So I worked with the elite level of girls for, getting girls from, getting them ready for collegiate level football. So I dealt with like the top 10 schools in the country, Clemson, South Carolina, some of the big schools there, Vanderbilt, UAB, and Texas, and things like that. And it was just like, wow, this is like really what I want to do. Came back to the UK when my visa ended after my 5 years, and my little boy was getting a bit older, and I just decided, you know what, I need to come back to the UK. I've been away since I was 20. I want to come back, be around family, be around watching my nieces and nephews grow up, and be with my little boy a little bit more. So I decided to come back, met Gary Fury from the Rondos Football Academy, ended up working for him, then got into Welling, questioned them why they wasn't doing girls football. He said, we tried it doesn't work. I then said, it does, you haven't done it properly. Gave me the free rein to set up the Welling Academy with a lady called Vicky Ball, and the two of us over lockdown spent a lot of time promoting it, getting it to where it wanted to be. We started off with 13 girls, ended up with 4 teams for the 2021 season. We now have 14 teams on the girls' side, a women's team, because I managed the Welling United women's team, and we've gone from a Tier 7 club to winning the league convincingly that season, not losing a game, conceding like 3 or 4 goals. And, you know, I had people like Emily Simmons and some girls who have been around the level of football that just fell out of love with it and wanted to get back enjoying it again. So we ended up staying there doing that. And now this year we have a women's team. We're now FA Cup football, 14 academy teams. I think we have 30 odd girls from the age of 4 to 6 playing football. And it's just kind of grown from there. And then I played in a charity match against Erith and Belvedere, and Dale Oldfield come up to me after the game and said, look, I'd love to get you in coaching with us.
So was that the recent game, the charity game, a couple of months ago, back in June, July time?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that. Good game. I was at that one.
Yeah, and Dale just said to me afterwards, he said, like, why are you not playing? Do you want to come back? I went, look, I don't enjoy playing anymore. I enjoy the coaching side of it. And I'd like I said, listen, I'd love to come in and get involved. Obviously, my hours and that are very restricted, and I've got a lot of stuff on, but I would love to get involved and coach and be a part of it and help you grow what you're trying to do. And then, obviously, I knew Adi and Geordie from being a kid growing up in the area. Obviously, knew Adi quite well because we played at underage level for Ireland. So yeah, they ended up having a conversation with Dale, and then obviously a month into that, Dale got offered a job elsewhere and decided that he couldn't commit to it full time and put the amount of time and effort he'd like to put into it. So the club asked me if I'd take it on myself, and I was like, it's a great opportunity for me. Obviously, you know, I have a lot going on in terms of the girls' game and with Welling United, with the women's. I just thought, you know what? It's not often you get these opportunities. I'll make it work. So I've juggled things around, and I've been lucky that I've got a group of girls who are very understanding and have been very helpful for me in terms of letting me move training times to accommodate me with the Belvedere, and been very helpful in terms of like with match day games. We've had a few Sunday games, been able to move kickoffs around so that I can do both. And yeah, I've been lucky as well because I fell into 2 jobs since I've been back, and with good people. And it's not often you get that opportunity, and to be what we're trying to do it here for Belvedere and what's going on there. I've got good people there, and I think that was always a big thing for me in terms of what I want to do as a coach is having the right people around me and the right jobs, and having good people around me that can support me as a person, but are always going to listen to what I want to do and have the same goals and dreams as I want to have.
No, of course. And you could see like a couple of games I've been to this season, like I said, that the pre-season, and also as well the recent Erith game that I met you at. You know, you can see there's real togetherness. So you've touched on there really well about like your background, where you've come from, and we'll look at Erith and Belvedere now. I mean, the start of the season has literally been you couldn't ask for a better start, really, could you? You know, 5 wins from 5, a lot of goals scored. We sort of said off air about the sort of calibre of the team you've been playing, but you know a lot more than I do. I'll just watch the non-league, but you know that anyone can blood any nose down in those divisions. But what is it, 12 goals scored or 12 goal difference at the moment? Fantastic start to the season.
I watched them obviously play a few times last year because Dale's a friend of mine, and I know a few of the boys there, and Geordie and them had invited me down, Paul Springett and Adi, and had to come watch some games. And you know, I watched some games last year, and I just felt that they overplayed. I thought they were very open and very predictable, and I felt that and that was just my opinion of it, that they wasn't defensively strong enough. And for me, it's about being defensively stronger and being more organised and having a structure in place that, you know, if, you know, you make mistakes, there's that safety net of someone being there and people understanding their roles and responsibilities within a team. So when I came in, we played a game against Welling Scholars and we got beat. And the first game, I said, listen, I'm not going to coach it. I'm going to let you play. I want to get to know everyone. And I think we had me and Marlon had 26 boys there, and we kept 6. And after that game, I was like, listen, a lot of boys in this league, for me, don't condition themselves right. Like, if you want to play football, you've got to run for 90 minutes. If you want to, you can't call yourself a footballer unless you act like a footballer. So you've got to look after your body. You've got to do the right things off the pitch so that you can do the right things on the pitch. We got rid of them players, and we decided we're going to get people in who are going to buy into what we want to do and be a part of what we want to do as a club.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We've recruited well. We've got good players in who understand what mine and Marlon's ambitions are and where we want to be. Also understanding that this is what the club want and this is where their direction is. And if you want to be here, you want to get to, but you've got to buy into what we want to do. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've had. We've had a lot of buy-in from the players that they've bought into the things we expect, the things we want to do, and it's shown on the pitch.
Yeah, of course.
So you can, as a coach, you can say, oh, I've done well, or me and Marlon have done well. But at the end of the day, once they cross the line and the referee blows the whistle, they've got to put all them things into process, and they've got to start to do the things that we've worked on in training and things we talked about in the tactical meetings, and put them understandings and stuff into place. So when they walk onto the pitch, they do it. And I can't play the game for them. I can help them in terms of structure, and I can help them in terms of motivation. But ultimately, they've got to have the motivation to want to do well, and they've got to also implement and take on board what we try to tell them. And the boys have done that, and that's why we're where we are at the moment.
Again, we were talking off there about the results you're playing. You're currently you are the form team. That there's no way of looking past it. Even Glebe and Sheffield are above you, are only really above you because they've played more games. You know, you've got this great run. You've got fantastic backline as well, who've conceded very few. On the subject of this division, I mean, I shared it the other day with some of my friends in our group chat that that top of the table, I know it's early, but it's wide open, isn't it? And like Glebe and Sheffield top, and as we were saying, but do you see these as, you know, if you want to go up or go to the next level, that these are the 2 teams you need to beat? Because, you know, Deal, who you've got soon, they're thereabouts. Erith Town, you know, they had a bit of a slow start and they were missing a lot of players in the Erith derby you played, but they've sort of recaptured a bit of form and now they're back up there as well. It really, really is tight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a very unpredictable league. I think that you can only think about one game at a time. I know it's a cliche and people talk about loads, but in this league, I only think you can because like a lot of the boys have jobs and it's not their full-on commitment to be playing football.
Yeah.
So you could play one week and have everyone there, and in the next week you could have 6 or 7 boys injured, or some of them have got work, some of them have got family commitments. So you can never think too far ahead. And I think you just have to go, do you know what? We play Deal on Saturday. Let's prepare for Saturday. And then we'll worry about the next game, Saturday night, Sunday morning. And to think too far ahead and start thinking about winning leagues and where we're at in the table, I think it's madness. I think that, you know, we can't do that, and we're not going to do it as a group. And, you know, people will say it to me, oh, like, you're up there, like, do you think you can challenge? We've played 5 games. Let's be realistic. Like, we've won 5 games and we've improved on where we're at last year, but we haven't done anything yet. So
still
to
a long
turn
way
around
to
and
go,
say,
still an awful long way.
Yeah, and I'm not. Listen, a few of my friends go, you're very defensive minded. You think about you worry about the what ifs, but I'm like, but what if I go Sunday and 5 and 6 boys have got work and they shift work and they can't be there on Saturday, and I've got a makeshift side and I have to put a team out and we don't win the game? What if that happens?
Yeah.
Like, we can't be so high because we're winning all the time and then so low when you lose a game. Like, you have to be very like level-headed and go, do you know what? You're not going to win every game. Not in this division. You're not going to. And you're going to have bad games and you're going to have good games. The biggest thing is when you don't play well, can you get something out of the game? When you don't have everyone there, can you get a point or can you get 3 points? You know, when you go to Chatham and Sheppies and places like that, like, how do you perform? how do you prepare for that game? Because when you go into them, it's not hard to motivate the boys to do it because they know what they've got to do. It's like when you do play the teams at the lower end of your league, of our league, is how do I motivate them and give them the right structures in place to go and play that game? And there for me, the challenges as a manager and as a coach is what I enjoy. So wanting to win leagues, of course we want to win leagues. Of course I want to win every game we play. That is very unrealistic. And I'm quite level-headed in thinking that we need to be more consistent in how we perform in terms of week in, week out. There's loads of areas we need to work on, but we've done so well so far and we've touched on so many areas that we need to improve on, that's why people are talking about us. Because last year we were towards the bottom of the table, and now this year we're doing well and we're now towards the top of the table. But the start of the year, if I remember rightly, a lot of people were writing us to go down. So I don't think too much about that because it's only been 5 games. 5 games ago we were going down. Now 5 games into it we're going up. Like, it's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah, the swing's huge, isn't it? We spoke about all the goals you scored and your big sort of goal difference that you have. I think, as we said, you had 12 because of the sort of lack of goals you conceded as well. You've kept a couple of clean sheets, and even the one in the games you've conceded, you've only conceded the 1. Are you happy with the balance in your side? Because some teams, they're really like sort of like gun ho, aren't they? Like they'll win games like 5-3 or 6-2 or something like that. Are you happy with the defence? Because another one of the reasons why you're up that league is you'll get the plaudits for winning the game and scoring the big goals, but it's your back line and your goalkeepers that's keeping them out as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think it's any shock. Like if you look at the Premier League level, teams that win leagues and win things concede the least amount of goals. Being a defender myself, I took pride in keeping clean sheets, and I still do now. And it's one of the first things I always mention after a game to the boys: another clean sheet. If you keep keeping clean sheets, you'll get opportunities in games to win them. So, and then it's a matter of when you get that opportunity in a game, do you take it?
Yeah.
And I think we've been doing that really well. We've been getting the odd opportunity, and we've got lucky in a couple of games. And we've won games from probably not playing too well, but kept a clean sheet for 60, 70 minutes, and then we've scored. And then we've shut up shop and been defensively very well organised. And I think they're things for me that are massive areas for me to focus on. And like I really enjoy that part of the game is keeping as many clean sheets as possible, trying to then be more productive as we go forward with the ball. And that's probably an area we need to touch on a little bit more. I know we've scored a lot of goals, but we've had triple the amount of chances and probably not scored enough goals. And that's me being very critical. But I'm very open with the boys saying that as far as we're doing well now, we still need to improve. Right? You're never the finished article. And even me as a coach, I still want to learn. I still want to make mistakes. I'm still going to make mistakes. I'm going to pick the wrong team once or twice. I'm probably going to go into games with the wrong tactics and ideas, but I've got to learn very quickly because if I don't, it's a job that you don't last very long in if you don't learn quick.
Talking as well about the side and the sort of balance you've got there. Again, I'll talk back to the game, the Erith away game that I was at, and I was waxing lyrical about how well you played, how organised you were. I thought it was a really good account, and also like your discipline as a team, and we touched on it before the game. For the fans who are listening to this who haven't seen it yet, we are going to talk about it on the main show as well. But there's currently an open letter from the Kent FA basically saying about the respect of officials, how some officials have been sort of abused or that kind of thing, or followed back to changing rooms, or the sort of things that you really don't want to see happen to like anyone really in football. We know football's a passionate game. We know sometimes results don't go people's ways, and we know sometimes that mistakes are all over the pitch. Your 11, your opposition's 11, yourself, Danny, your counterpart in the dugout, and also the referees and the officials. Everyone's human. But what do you think about obviously what's going on with refereeing at the moment? There's obviously a real issue at grassroots level, and sort of how proud of your team? I mean, you played 5 league games, and I think you've only got something like 6 or 7 yellow cards, which in the grand scheme of things isn't really a lot at all compared to other teams.
Yeah, no, listen, I've got a good bunch of boys. Like honestly, they're very respectful, very good lads. They do the right things. I I wouldn't want to be a referee. Like, I know what I can be like on the sideline. I know I can scream at a referee a lot. What I've found since being at this level is that every decision, everything that goes on, that the benches on and players in particular are screaming for everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does influence the ref. And I think we had it against Tooting and Mitcham when we played them in the FA Cup. And I approached the referee at half time and I just said to him, don't let him intimidate you. They had like 4 or 5 lads on the sideline and they did not stop. They were running up and down the side of the pitch. The linesmen were like all in front of the linesman and things like that. And you're like, going, like, that's like pub football.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to play pub football, going, but like, there's not enough support for referees anyway. And people can say what they want, but I still think there should be someone from every FA, like at the games, that is in the stand and be assessing how people react to the referees, what clubs are doing, what benches are doing. Like my ex-wife, her dad is actually a referee, and both of her 2 brothers are. And when I played in Ireland, they used to referee against me. So her brother Alan Kelly is actually a referee in the MLS, who is very highly thought of over there, and been ranked as like one of the top referees for the last 4 or 5 years in the MLS. And don't get me wrong, I used to hate going around there for Sunday dinner because we'd watch a game and they'd be talking about the referee and I'd be like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Just watch
the game.
But yeah, and I mean, in my playing career, probably wasn't the most disciplined. They both sent me off a couple of times and I was very ill disciplined as a player, but I've kind of got to the point where it's like, what's the point saying anything? Like, I really don't think you achieve anything. As much as you might think you might influence the 1 or 2 decisions, like, you don't really over the course of 90 minutes. And I just can't be bothered to shout, if I'm honest with you. My focus can't be on a referee's decision. It has to be on organising my team and getting them in the right places. Now, I have been spoken to 1 or 2 times by referees this year, but more out of frustration from the way that other people act towards them, and I feel that they've been influenced. That would be more my frustration on that. But in terms of what they do within the game, they're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. My players make mistakes. But I can't take that out on the referee when that happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's a good answer, because ultimately, Danny, with refereeing, I'm not just saying this because I've recently done a referee's course. I'm not saying it to try and defend, obviously, those in our sort of like referee groups. But a lot of the times, people don't understand that I've done it. When you think you've made a mistake, even if you've got it right, but you think for a split second you have, it kind of ruins your game. So, you know, if you think you made this mistake, fair enough, but you don't need to constantly be reminded about it all the time. You know, it's very much like sort of get on with it and that kind of stuff. But you were saying there about like maybe the FA or each FA, so Kent FA, London FA, etc., should maybe send down assessors to see how the referee's doing, offer a bit of support. But what do you think like the league should do? Or like the league, not so much the FA, but what do you think they should do to support their refs a bit more? Do you think? Because the stats with refs going is quite worrying at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I think that it's very hard to find referees. And like, look, I work in Welling United scholarship program, and we have 6 teams, and trying to find referees for them games is really hard. It's really difficult. And, you know, we have a fella called Martin Cook who helps us out trying to find referees, who, you know, does a brilliant job. But we had a conversation with him today and he's like, I just feel that because of lockdown and, you know, people just can't just think, why do I want to put up with that abuse anymore?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? And I think, you know, that's a big thing for it as well. But yeah, it's really hard because you want to find good referees and they want to be supported. And I know the FAs want to support them, but then you need manpower. Then you need the amount of people to go around and assess referees and sit in the stands and support them. Like, ideally, it'd be great to have 4th officials at games, because that would give the referee less to do in the game. Then it'd make the thing a whole lot easier, where you could go, well, the 4th official manages the bench and you give them that responsibility of doing that. Then the linesmen and the referees can concentrate on the game. But because you don't have that, I think it's very hard because to help them, because they're having to not only referee the game, but they're also having to look after the bench and sidelines, which can at times be quite heated and can get out of hand.
And like I said, like, this isn't any way of saying Don't get me wrong, like, don't take the passion out of the game. You know, if you are passionate about decisions or are passionate about, you know, how results going and everything like that, absolutely. You know, like, you can speak to referees. That's obviously what they're there for. But, you know, you respect their decision. I mean, the amount of times, let's be brutally honest, Danny, the amount of times, not your side, but you will see a player be in an offside position, the lino or the assistant official raises flag, and then you see the sort of player going like, "Oh, I weren't offside. It's like, well, you probably were, because you're not that good a footballer. You'll always be onside 100% of your entire career, you know. But I'm digressing on the subject of a match officiating. We can talk about that another time, maybe in the future. But so you said on the pod recently, when we did the interview post game against Erith that, you know, you've got real potential in this team, and, you know, you think that some of these players can actually really go on to some real senior divisions in the game. I mean, I think you mentioned like possibly even going Championship, League One level, obviously, if the journey goes right. So we'll just sort of end the interview now, if you don't mind, with just like with the right sort of backing and resources, which you said you have. You know, you say you've got fantastic support, and the support from the fans is excellent as well. How far do you think this team can go, and, you know, and some of these players, if obviously everything fell into place in an ideal world?
Yeah, I think, look, a player's ability and a player's progression is down to them ultimately. If they put in the time and effort off the pitch, they'll get the rewards on the pitch. You know, it's a great showcase for some of our younger players like Vinny Medhurst, Ollie Bate, Lucas Atkins, Keenan Alasani, Drew Alasani, Kazim Richards. And we've got 7 or 8 boys that are young kids still, and they're learning in the game at adult level. Now, for me, that be progressing and to be developing, like, the opportunities will come.
Yeah.
And that's what they've got. And that for me is massive. Like, you know, take your opportunities. When they come for you, grab them with both hands, because you'll be a long time out of playing football, and you'll be a lot less time in it. So any opportunities you have while you play football, take them. And if you don't grab them, and if you don't take your chances, and you don't work hard, and you don't do the things off the pitch, you won't play football for very long, because there's always someone else that will come along and take your place.
Yeah.
And that's the message I kind of give to the boys. You know, you've got an opportunity here, grab it with both hands. Go and dominate, go and be the best you can be. And that's a big thing for us as a team and as a club, is we want to be that team that does that.
Yeah, and ultimately that really is all you can ask for. I mean, Erith and Belvedere, as I said, I've been down there a good few times over the years. They've got a great fan base, and they just seem like they just want someone who just gives 100%, don't they? You know, like they obviously know the level that the club's at. You know, they're not going to be able to sign some absolute finished article worldie already, so they just really want someone who just really plays for the badge, plays for the club, and has that connection, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not. I don't even think it's the point of plays for the badge. I think it's that every football fan, and me in particular, I just want to see someone work hard. I don't care if you play well. If you give it 100% and work hard, and you try, that's all anyone can ever ask.
Yeah.
But you're never going to play well every week. You're going to play more bad games, and you're going to have good games. So don't go out into games trying to play brilliant. Go into a game, and your first thought should be, can I work as hard as I can for myself and for the team? And the rest of it falls into place. Because you might not even play well, but you might work hard for the team and be effective, and then you've worked hard and played well in a different kind of way. You've not played well individually in terms of your ability on the ball, but you've done certain things for the team that managers and coaches from other levels understand. That you're not going to play well every week, but do you know when you don't play well, how effective are you? Can you be effective when you're not playing well? And that's what we're doing. We're having boys who ain't played well every week, but they've worked hard and they've been effective, and they've helped us win games through them playing poorly by running back 20 yards, making a tackle, or blocking a shot off the line, or winning a header when they shouldn't win a header, because they've got that level of commitment for the cause that everyone else has got. And it's not about, I think that any fan just wants to see that. You know, they always want to see you win, but I'd go and watch a team play every week if I knew that they just worked their butt off every week and played hard.
And we'll leave it there, Millwall fans, because being on a Millwall podcast, and probably from your experience watching Millwall, Danny,
I'm a Millwall fan as well.
Yeah.
So I actually grew up down Gallowell Road. So
well, there you go. There you go. That's exactly what Millwall fans like.
Well, the last ever game at the Old Den, in Harry Kitchener's bar, you've got the two little boys up on the fence behind the bar, the picture. It's actually me and my little brother.
Ah, there you go.
Crazy.
Next time I'm in Harry's, I'll try and get a photo for you, and I'll send it over.
Yeah,
I know you've probably got that yourself, but there you go.
I have
dear
actually,
listener. Yeah. There you go, dear listener. The nice photo there of Danny and his brother. You can say that you know who he is. But no, thank you very much for your time, Dan. I'll let you get back on with your evening, and good luck in your fixtures in the league against Deal, and also Charlton under 23 in the London Senior soon. So, from Danny Murphy, goodbye.
Thank you. Good luck, and I hope everything goes well.
Thank you very much, and Arrivederci Millwall.
Achtung, Millwall.
And finally, dear listeners, I thought we could just have a quick results roundup from the games last weekend of the clubs that we're focusing on this season on Achtung Grassroots, and looking forward to some fixtures for the weekend for anyone who's interested to get themselves out to a game. Now, first of all, a good win in the FA Vars, wonderful name, the FA Vars. I've always liked that as a competition name. But it was the first qualifying round for local clubs last weekend, the 11th of September, so a good win for Erith Town with a 2-0 win over Sporting Club Thames Mead. Do they still play at on the Thames Mead estate, listeners? I've lost track of them. They used to be a club that played on a ground that a company I worked for owned, and I always had a kind of an eye on Sporting Club Thames Mead. Anyway, they got beat by Erith Town 2-0 last Saturday, the 11th. Goals from Stedman Callender in the 24th minute and Alfie Eldridge in the 55th, sealing Erith Town's, the Dockers' progress to the next round, qualifying round of the FA Vars. Also with a win, Fisher at Bearsted in Kent, an 89th minute late goal there from Malachy Coker, also ensuring progress for the Fish into the second qualifying round of the FA Vars, presumably. Midweek results, we've just listened to Danny Murphy, really good interview there with Michael and with Danny of Erith and Belvedere, a 2-0 win for them over Punjab United at Parkview Road. Henry Dasafungo in the 26th minute and Reece Barrett in the 53rd, sealing a win for the Deers. Just one name caught my eye for Glebe. We haven't really looked at Glebe yet. We may well do during the course of this season. This is another SCEFL fixture, Glebe 2, Tunbridge Wells 0. Goals for Jamie Philpott, ex-Millwall player in the 2nd minute, and then Aaron Watson in the 17th. Wednesday night, another win for Erith Town against Stedman Callender, 18 minutes and 32 minutes, and Sam Bailey in 43rd minute, prevailing 3-1 over Tower Hamlets, who had an 85th minute from Tammy Ogunowo. And Fisher travelled to Holmesdale. I think they're in Bromley. Oakley Road, am I right, listeners? Oakley Road in Bromley. That was a 1-1 draw for the Fish. Fisher taking the lead with Temia Oladejo in the 50th minute. An equaliser for Holmesdale in the 65th by Owen Punsele. 115 people there. They list the attendance there for Holmesdale. 115 people at Holmesdale 1, Fisher 1. And 57 at Erith Town for that 3-1 win over Tower Hamlets, all of which means that Erith Town move into 3rd place in the Premier Division SCEFL table. Erith now sitting in 3rd place. Top of the table are Glebe, followed by Sheppey, both on 19 points. Erith just tucked in behind them. One game extra played by Erith, but they're on 18 points in 3rd place. Erith and Belvedere, after that midweek win over the Punjab, winning 2-0 there, they'll go 4th. They've got games in hand. They've got 5 games played as against the top clubs 7 and 8. They're on 15 points, by the way. Fisher in 9th at the minute, played 8, 9 points to their name, 9th position. Looking forward to the weekend. You should, of course, be at Mill versus Coventry, dear listener. But if you're not, for some reason, then you've got fixtures. Erith and Belvedere are away in the Premier Division of the SCFL. They're away at Deal in Kent. Glebe are at home to Hollands and Blair. That's both on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoffs, the 18th of September. Following midweek, we've got fixtures in the Kent FA Senior Trophy for local derby, Erith Town versus Fisher. And in the London Senior Cup, Erith and Belvedere on Wednesday night, 22nd, are playing the Charlton Athletic under 23s. So some good fixtures there. Do check out the SCEFL.com site. That's the Southern Counties East Football League for full details, extensive information on each of the clubs that we're looking at: Erith Town, Erith and Belvedere, and Fisher this season. Thank you for listening to this edition of Achtung Grassroots, dear listeners. I hope you're enjoying these little insights into local football. I find them fascinating, and we'll be back very, very soon with another edition of the show. So until then, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to AchtungMillwall. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a cheeky little review. Arrivederci Millwall. Till next time.
Who do you want to watch?